Hello, I'm Caroline Marshall, and welcome to Bump to Business Owner, the podcast speaking to mums in business, you. I'll be in conversation with some of the most inspiring women and mothers in enterprise about their journey, how they created their successful businesses alongside raising their children, and what that looks like in work and family life. Hello and welcome to Bump to Business Owner. I am your host, Caroline Marshall, and this week we come with the finale, shall we say? The finale of our assistant season. And can I just say, I have been overwhelmed by how many people have listened. Apparently, people are very curious about the VA industry. Or we have lots of lovely VA listeners here. Whoever you are, whatever you are, welcome. And thank you for showing support after our summer break of our mini-series. And last week we had Amanda Johnson, former VA agency owner, VA industry expert and coach and owner of VACT. And she gave me permission to record some of the women I admire in our industry who are mothers, business owners, all very different stages, motherhood and business, I should say, and also just created the businesses that work for them, which is what I love about this. And this is the whole point of this podcast. It's about showcasing the fact business owner life does look different for us as mothers. And if we're not talking about that, then it just gets ignored. And the rates of female founders won't get better. I read today a stat, apparently 44% of job hunters in this country are looking for not full-time roles. So flexible working, different hours. And that stat, while it shouldn't be surprising when you think about the number of parents and then add on that number of carers and then people who just want different ways of working, it blows my mind. And no, that is another reason just to highlight how amazing entrepreneurship or running a business or being a freelancer, however you identify it, can be amazing for that when you get it right. There are so many stories out there I want to showcase on this podcast. And frankly, I just don't have the time for it. I'd love to. And I thought this was an excellent way to just showcase, inspire you, because that's what the podcast is here for, aspirational, inspirational women. And I know all of these women. I consider them friends as well as industry colleagues. And I want to showcase who they are about. So I'm going to introduce them as well. So we have Sarah, who lives near me, another Londoner, and she started out I think a couple of years before me. She also won UK Best Newcomer VA in 2019, and she has built, and actually she's multiple award winning, she's won lots of awards, so that was the start of her award era, but she is brilliant, EA background herself, and has a daughter, and did the whole, and this is what I love about Sarah, she fully admits she did the whole, I'm going to be back at work, this isn't going to change me, and then realized when she became a mother, she didn't want to work the hours, and in the same way she was working as an EA in London, and she's built a highly successful business. She is a team of one. She's not branched out to team members by choice, and how she makes it work for her, I think, is truly inspiring as well as her story.
Sarah, can you introduce your name and your business and your motherhood?
Yes, so I'm Sarah Szekir-Papasavva, and I run a business called Apps Virtual Assistant, and I'm the mum to a wonderful 8-year-old daughter.
And what made you start a freelance business as a mum?
So my background was as an EA, but when I went on maternity leave, I realised that the very demanding hours would mean I would never see my daughter awake if I stayed. So I looked for something more flexible, and I learned how the virtual assistant role, and that would give me the opportunity to spend more time with her, to be present in her early life. So that was the key, incentive to do something like this. And I've had some experience of running a business, a very small one. This was a new world, but it gave me something to look forward to, something that I thought would benefit my work life and my lifestyle as a new mum.
And great question, how long did it take you to get first client?
So I set up in May, and by June, so a month, I have one client.
And where did you get them?
I got them mostly through networking with other small business owners who are my ideal clients, and then through word of mouth.
And you are a network queen, Sarah. So how often do you go networking to get those clients?
Honestly, not that often, but I do commit to at least once a month.
Okay.
So that I make sure that I do some networking, but I love also networking with other VAs, small business owners. I think it's a great way to just to be visible, but also to create that trust that is really hard to for as well.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
And on the other side of that, we have Bev, and her kids are both, I think, both in senior school, or at least the second one is approaching. And I really wanted to delve into what does it look like when your kids become that age? As selfish reasons, my kids aren't at that age yet. And I always look partly to Bev. Bev is on the Upsource team as well as running her own business. I always look up to Bev because Bev's always like giving me hope about the future years with kids. She's always like, for them, all the parents that say it doesn't get easier, she's the one that's telling me it does. But what we also wanted to raise awareness is that flexibility is still hugely needed and hugely valued, even when you're raising teenagers, is my learning from Bev and other mums, in fact, that I know who have teenagers. I think there can be a lot of mothers who are stuck in the early years, and rightly so, just feeling like they want to get out of it and thinking, I can work longer hours when they're teenagers, which that might not be the case for all of us. And you might want to still have that flexibility, which Bev definitely does. And I loved talking to her about this.
So I'm speaking to Bev. Bev, you are VA business owner. Introduce your business and your kids.
My name is Bev. I am the founder of Be Virtual, and I have two children, Poppy, who is 15 almost, and Chester, who is almost 30.
And how long have you been in business?
So for myself, I've been in business for about 3.5 years. I've been in the admin space for about 28 years.
And have you been employed and business owner as a mum, and how do they compare?
Yes. So when my children were little, because of our house setup, my husband's a shift worker. We had to have somebody at home, so I had to find jobs and roles to fit around the children. We're away from our family. We have no support network at all around. So it's literally just the four of us. And I set up my business to be flexible around the children. My previous business, and then this business was followed the same.
And how has that benefited you? Because your kids are teenagers now, and this podcast isn't just about mums and little ones. What are the benefits of being flexible around teenagers?
So it means that I can be there every day when my son, and when they come home from school, my son has this routine where he knocks on the windows and he waits, and I look back at my desk and I wait back and I go and open the door, and we have like 10, 15, 20 minutes where we just talk about their day and kind of just download everything that happened and have a connection for that few minutes. And I think if I had an employed role, or if I, kind of scheduled, if I was on somebody else's schedule, I wouldn't be able to carve out those moments that are really, really important to my children and to me as a mum and a business owner.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, Bev.
And next up, I'm going backwards on someone who's new to the VA industry, Steph, on the Upsource team, also running her own business. And she just won UK Best Newcomer 2025. So congrats, Steph. And the reason I wanted to chat with her as well is I know some of her journey. She is a mum of twins who are, I believe, under 3 or just turning 3, mother of twins. And she has an older child as well. Well, an older child, a child at primary school age, so definitely not older, not that much older. But so still got very young kids, and decided, as coming out of as you can imagine, the depths of the early years with twins, and choosing what business life looks like for her. And she is brilliant at her job, clearly started to build a brilliant business and getting recognized for that. And she gives us an insight into what it might really take in order to get your business off the ground when your twins' babies still very much need you at home.
Hi, Steph.
Hi.
Tell me, Steph, what's your business and what age are your children?
So my business is Dotterbox. I'm a VA, and my children, I've got 3. I've got 2 nearly 3-year-olds and 1 5-year-old.
And how long have you been in business?
And almost a year and a half.
And how come you went from employed to self-employed?
Parenthood, at like the right decision at the right time, culmination of all the different things I'd done up until that point of it coming together.
And what things have you done which you never expected you would do?
So like what, since being a VA?
Yeah, and how to get your business started. How have you navigated the mum journey?
Yeah, lots of juggling. So one thing in particular is I'm part of a community of other VAs. There's a Monday night coaching call. I'm quite often tandem feeding my twins to sleep whilst on the coaching call.
How is that
double check
going?
that the video is off. The camera is not on. Old school time.
And what does that mean to you to be able to navigate your learning journey along, in order to build your business alongside motherhood?
I think it feels really empowering, actually, and I think having kids was the gift I needed to be able to kind of step up and to be my own boss, do my own thing. It feels like right place, right time.
Love that stuff. Good luck.
Thank you.
And then finally, we have Holly Copsey, and she is a virtual assistant agency owner like myself. And I wanted to make sure that I was also representing other people like me on the podcast to show we and Holly have very similar timelines in moving to the agency model. She did it as well in 2020, although she'd been in the VA world, I think, a few years by then. Has a background as a corporate EA at Barclays. Her 2 kids, I think, primary and senior school age now, but making that choice to go down the agency route. And that's why I love the empowerment of it being a choice, because doing the day-to-day work and the sort of clients she was working with didn't work for her during COVID while being a mum as well. And I'm sure she was homeschooling at the stage she was at and everything she had on in the family, and why she chose to go down the agency route, similar to myself, and how empowering it's been and what it's meant for her children as well. So thank you, Holly, for sharing your story with us.
Introduce yourself, Holly Copsey.
Hi, I'm Holly Copsey, and I run the VA business Virtually Priceless.
And you're a mum of 2 boys. No, boy and a girl.
Girl and a boy, 11 years and nearly 8 years.
And how long have you been in business for?
I have been in business just over 7 years.
Oh, 7 years. And what's it been like for your life as a mum, running a business versus being employed? Because you were at Barclays?
I was at Barclays. I had my daughter while I was still at Barclays, and then I started my VA business when I had my second child, and he was about 9 months old. And the main thing it has given me is just a huge amount of flexibility. And particularly now, as I've moved into being more of an agency business, that I have flexibility with my schedule to set my diary as I need to, and to completely make my work fit around that. I've never missed a school event.
Even as an agency owner, because you've had huge growth, Holly, like one of the biggest agencies. And what was that like? Why did you decide to go down the agency route?
So for us, the business really grew in COVID. I found myself with 2 very young children at home, was trying to juggle working 35, 40 client hours a week, which just didn't work. So I really had to change things up, but I needed to earn a certain amount of money. So for me, I couldn't just work reduced hours. I needed to still fill those hours. And for me, the obvious way of doing that was with having a team.
And do you still do billable hours now?
Very few. I take on the odd project.
The odd project. And is there anything challenging you've had to navigate as a mum and business owner?
Constant guilt, I think, is just an absolute trait of ours a lot of the time. It's really, really hard to juggle all of the things. I think I've had to learn to become much kinder to myself and to accept I can't do all of the things all the time. And sometimes there'll be trade-offs. But I also like setting that example to my children and them knowing that I work hard. We have a really fun life. We do lots of cool things. We've got lots of horses and they're very expensive. And the kids know that what I do funds our lifestyle. And actually sometimes that, something has to give.
Love that. Thank you so much, Holly.
And I'm going to end the podcast. I want to say a huge shout out to the Bump to Business Owner team, Steph, Mary, Rachel, and recently Meg, who's joined us with some TikTok support, because they won an award. They won an award at the UK VA Conference 2025 for Bump to Business Owner for their work for working as a team together to keep me on track with this podcast, managing me. So thank you all for your work, and so deserved. I can't believe, thank you for coming on the journey with me, guys, and a credit to the VA industry and what we can achieve collaboratively together. So thank you for that. And as I said earlier, we are now at the end of my special dedication for the VA industry, but it's clearly been so popular. So thank you for inspiring me and reminding me that I need to bring on more of my assistant industry, admin, professional industry. So watch out, all my friends in that industry, because I'm going to be asking you on the podcast soon. And we're going to be coming up with a huge range of guests coming up. We've got confirmed already. We've got a food industry, Mademoiselle Macron, Rachel from there. We have Motivate PT, Kira coming on the podcast as well. And we also have Alice from the Female Archetypes, which is a clothing company made by a woman for women in the UK as well. So if you're looking for some different stories, and I'll also have my mini-sodes coming in, and I'm excited to talk about what I believe we should all really be doing in Q4 in our businesses. Spoiler, and it's not doing a final push at the end of the year. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for all your support. If you can leave a rating for us on Apple, on Spotify, a review on Apple would be even better. Coming back and seeing the listener numbers skyrocket since last year has been really showing me that this podcast is needed and we're onto something here, and we can only grow, we can only get investment for it if we have lots of lovely listeners shouting out about it. So thank you so much, and thank you for so much for everyone in our industry who has contributed. Until next time. Thank you so much for listening to Bump to Business Owner. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please do rate, review, follow, or subscribe wherever you're listening. It really helps us to connect with more mums and business owners. You can DM me on @BumpToBusinessOwner on Instagram, and I'll be back next week.